Hello everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. I don't know if you're there yet or not, out in YouTube land. If you are, give us a shout out, send a message, and let us know if you can hear. Anybody there yet?
Yeah, there's a couple logging in.
How's everybody doing tonight? We went to Virginia for the weekend and just got back in town late this afternoon. So I've been doing laundry and catching up on everything. So I'm glad you're here. I'm just putting everything on Facebook and everything so that everybody knows about it. Give everybody a chance to get in, get settled. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Hey there, Jan. That's Jan, yeah. Lady gemologist. Her name is Jan. That's my husband is my moderator. Greg is my moderator, and he's the one that does all my IT stuff, and so he didn't know your name, Jan. So I'm mixing up my last color here. I've got a plan for a couple of different pours, and I'm just finishing up. Tonight I'm using Floetrol. I'm so used to using Floetrol here lately. I am using Floetrol, latex based. So I don't know, which way am I supposed to be turning this? Which way? This way? Is it showing up the right way?
Yes, that way.
Okay, I want to make sure. So I put my Floetrol through a wire mesh strainer. I did that with all of my colors that I've mixed up, and then I just transferred over to a cup with water in it. The reason I do that is I can put that water into my water bottle, and it has some Floetrol in it, which only helps you mix up your paints a little bit better anyway. So that way you kind of take advantage of your Floetrol, your water mixture, everything. I learned that little trick from Gina DeLuca, who's a fabulous pour artist. And she's not poor, but she's a pour artist. You get it? P-O-U-R. And then my husband is flashing a grand opening party. Saturday, December 1st. Yes, that will be my grand opening in Sanford, North Carolina. So here's my water mixture. I would say it's probably like 90% water and 10% Floetrol. So I use a squirt bottle. I don't pour it out of a cup. That way I have a little bit more control over how much water I'm adding. Hey Linda and Ronalyn. And for those that don't see my post right away, of course this will be live, but it also will be in my YouTube you know, in the history. You can go and watch it later live or, you know, on your own time when it's over with, so there's no problem. Even if you join in late, you can catch the beginning of it later on. So the post will go into my regular library of videos, and it'll just say live October 21st, something like that. So that consistency looks pretty good. I don't know if you can see, but you'd like for it to drip off your stick like really kind of thick cream or warm honey. So you want it in a steady stream. No dripping. If it drips, it's too watery. And if it stays in a clump on your stick, then it's too thick. So the consistency is always the variable. It doesn't matter what brand of paint that I use. I always use 1-to-1 ratio of Floetrol to paint. It's the water that is what fluctuates depending on the brand of paint. So I'm just going to take my little strainer here that I had used to strain my flugers. So I've got watery Floetrol here. It's a little bit of Floetrol and a lot of water. And there it goes back into my bottle so that I reuse all that water and Floetrol. And the butcher paper, which is on the table, I absolutely love it. It is in my Amazon link. Below all my videos, there's an Amazon link that has all the products I use. The OGX Coconut Milk Anti-Breakage Serum, which this is paint covered with my finger paints, and I have my heat gun on there, a blow dryer. I even have a torch, believe it or not, and I'm going to use it tonight instead of my heat gun just for a change. Just going to switch it up a little bit to show you that I can use a heat torch without setting things on fire. So I'm going to clear this out of the way. So again, I used Flood Floetrol, and it has to be latex based, which means water based. And 1-to-1 ratio with every single paint. It doesn't matter what brand. So I'm going to put that color aside. My first painting I want to do today is with these colors. And I'm inspired by one of the ladies in my Facebook group. And I cannot pronounce her name. I think it's Iwana, but I'm not sure that's the way you pronounce it. But she does these beautiful pours, and they have these unique little blossom looking effects in them sometimes. And I went to her page and watched the way she did it, so I'm crediting this crafty idea to her. I don't know if it'll work for me, because you know, sometimes people have a talent that they can do really well. Say if it's a sink strainer pour, or like if I do swipes well. Every person kind of has their own talent that they're really good at with acrylic pouring, and she has got that mastered. And so I'm going to try her technique. I've never tried it before, so I'm going to try it live. So who knows what will happen. And I also have a giveaway in my Facebook group. I just passed 6,000 subscribers this weekend. Last night or sometime today, it went over 6,000. So yay! That's since the middle of June. I am just so happy to have these people joining in Facebook land to support me, and it gives the people in the Facebook group a chance to also ask questions and share things and post their beautiful photos, which you can't do in YouTube. So that's why I started the Facebook group. So I had a giveaway for the 6,000 subscribers, and whoever commented on that post stood for a chance to win a peacock pillow cover. So the first thing I'm going to do before I get my hands all messy, here's the pillow cover. It's from my original, it was an original acrylic pour, and it was dry for weeks and weeks because I knew that at some point I was going to paint a peacock on it. And I painted the peacock, and there's a video for the original pour, there's a video for where I speed paint kind of through the peacock painting. And it was done in metallics. It was so gorgeous, and I actually sold the painting like right away on Facebook. So I have this image, and I have an account on Redbubble where you can go and find my art, and this is one of the things that you can get from Redbubble is a pillow cover. So I'm giving this pillow cover away. Not the pillow inside, that's my pillow. You have to put your own insert in, but you can get them cheap at Walmart or somewhere. So I wanted to announce the winner from the Facebook group. Even though we're live on YouTube, there's so many of my people that are in the Facebook group that are my YouTube followers, so I wanted to do it on live YouTube. So the winner is, ding, 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 Mary Marson. Yay! So Mary Marson is the winner of the pillow cover. And then I had over 300 people that commented.
How did you spell that? M-A-R?
M-A-R-S-A-N. So I had so many people, over 300, that commented on that post for the chance to win it. So I decided to also give 5 people a free digital download of the peacock painting. And those winners are, I want to say Jane Schofield, or it might be Schofield, S-C-H-O-F-I-E-L-D. I think it's Schofield, like you would pronounce school, Schofield. Jane Schofield, Judy Cool, Peggy Rogue, or Rogge, R-O-G-G-E, Danielle Hayes, and Jean Norman Archer, or Jeanne. You know, sometimes people's names are spelled one way, but they pronounce them a little bit different. So, but these people are in my Facebook group that actually commented, and I will tag them in the Facebook post to make sure that they know that they get a free digital download, and they'll have to send me their email so I can send that to them. And of course, Mary has to send me her address so I can mail her the pillow cover. So I wanted to do that before I got the table all dirty.
And Nisa tipped $30.
Oh, hey Nisa, thank you so much.
And Ronalyn Hurley tipped $5.
Thank you, Ronalyn. I appreciate it so much. So I wanted to do this thing like the lady does where she uses the bottom of a bottle, and I cut out 2 different ones. One was a water bottle, one was a Coke bottle. The shapes are just really about the same. One is a little bit more rounded, one's a little flatter, so I think I'm going to use the more rounded one. So all I did was empty out a Coke bottle and cut off the bottom of it. So this is what I'm going to make an impression with. So that's what I'm going to use. And these are the colors, and these colors are Creative Inspirations Cadmium Yellow Light. And I took an actual house paint, Valspar, because a lot of people want to know if they can use house paint. So we're going to try it out right here today. This is called Sassy Lilac by Valspar, and it's one of those little 8-ounce samples that you can get from Lowe's. The purple I mixed is the Liquitex Basics Prism Violet and Purple by Master's Touch, and I think I put a little bit of violet from Artist Loft to get me a cup full of purple. So I have 2 tubes that are almost empty, or are empty. And this one, I wanted kind of a coral color. So this is Coral Blush by Deco Art in this cup here. And then I have this funky paint. I don't know, I must have gotten it at Jerry's Artorama. It's called Bright Yellow Green. And I just realized that I wanted a deeper green as well. So So this is number 871. It's Abstract Innovative Acrylic. So I think I got this from Jerry's Artorama. So these are the colors I'm going to use, and I do want a deeper green, so what I'll do is I'll just use what little bit of deep green I have in my squeeze bottle that is kind of a phthalo green. I just want a hint of this, so I'm going to put that aside here. And hey Marilyn, I've got a 16 by 20 inch canvas. And I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and do a flip cup type thing. I was thinking about doing a swipe, but then that makes a big mess on the table, and I've got some other things I wanted to paint after this, so I'm going to try to control the mess just a little bit. And I'm going to start with my Artist Loft Flow Acrylic. This is usually what I always use, is the Artist Loft in the quart bottles from Michaels. And they're always about $10, but you can always get them online for $6. That's just a little tidbit of information, is they're cheaper online. And I know that you can use a coupon if you have one, but usually I always have something more expensive than a $10 bottle in my basket when I go to Michael's, and I need to use that coupon for something else. So this can be usually $10 because I've got a more expensive item in my basket. So sometimes I order these online and get several bottles at one time, and they're only $6 a bottle for a quart. So today I noticed that when I was straining my flugers, there was actually flugers in the white paint too. So that does happen. So sometimes it is in your paint, and sometimes it's not always the Floetrol's problem. So I just wanted to point that out. I didn't think that my paint was ever lumpy, but you know, apparently if it sits for a while, it can get lumpy. So I am going to put a white base down. And then I've got this Easy Glide Wilton icing or fondant spreader. It's plastic. I got it at Walmart. It's also in my Amazon link below my video. And then there's a little one that's, I think, fancier, that has like a nicer handle. It's pretty much the same thing. It just helps spread the paint around, and I just want the canvas to kind of be wet so that my paint will glide around. So again, this is a 16 by 20. I kind of like to work with larger canvases. I feel like the smaller ones can kind of restrict you on your pattern or your design a little bit. So I know that for people that are just learning how to do it, you know, you might want to start smaller because you're experimenting and you might have to scrape off several times, that kind of thing.
Sherry Lewis
Hey
says
Sherry.
that they have fluggers in theirs too.
Yeah, so I never noticed that my white paint or, you know, whatever I was working with had fluggers until today, because I was straining it by accident and they came out, so that's when I noticed it. Okay, so I do not have any silicone in my colors, and I do want some cells, just a little bit. So what I'm going to do, and what I always tell everybody, is on the OGX coconut milk. And the key ingredient in OGX, people ask about different kinds of OGX products and other hair products. The key ingredient, which is the first one on the list, is dimethicone. So that is what you're looking for. That is the magical potion, okay? And if you do a pump, if I could show you, but I don't want to get it on my hand, if I did a whole pump, it would probably be at least a teaspoon or more. Okay, Greg's going to offer his hand. Okay, here we go. Can you see how much that is? It smells really, really, really good. I'm telling you, it smells good.
I think Nisa earlier said she used some in her hair.
Yes, and people put it in their hair and all that, so it's all good. It smells fabulous. Okay, but I'm only going to put it in 2 colors. And I'm only going to put 1 drop, not a whole pump. I'm just going to put 1 drop in each color. So the purple and the coral. So see, I mean, this is the residue that came off on my finger. I'll stick it on the edge of this coral cup, but you don't need much of this at all. Some people say they use OGX or silicone and they can't get cells. Well, with silicone, you can probably add several drops to a cup. Like these are 8-ounce cups. So if I had silicone, I would put at least 7 to 8 drops in. And with OGX, a little bit goes a long way, so you want to use it very sparingly. So I'm just going to give it a couple of stirs. And actually on this one, I don't even care if I have a lot of cells. I tell you what, I'll do 1 little pump in the light green too, just for the heck of it. So that way, it's got a little bit. And then I'm going to get me a larger cup. And I think pretty much I'm going to try to cover the whole canvas. So what I do is I go to my phone. I keep my chart on my phone under downloads. And I pull up my chart, and a 16 by 20 is 11 ounces of paint to cover your canvas. And this chart is in my Facebook group. And if you're not in my Facebook group, or if you want the chart but you're not on Facebook, just email me at sandralett.com and I will send you a copy of the chart. So I need at least 11 ounces of paint. This cup is probably 16 or so ounces. Yeah. And I also want the darkest on the top, maybe with a little bit of white. So I'm going to pour just a little bit of white on the very bottom. But I actually want, I tell you what, I'm thinking of like the colors I chose. I'm kind of thinking of like a flowery color, like purples with a splash of coral, the greens from the leaf, and the yellow is just that pop of contrast against the purple. So I'm going to put just a little bit of this phthalo peacock green, and this does have silicone in it. Now I'm going to put the lime color, and I'm going to actually try to layer these a little bit. I'm going to do some yellow here. And I'm going to put just a hint of white again. But I'm kind of trying to keep them layered, but when I'm going to do a dirty pour, so I'm going to flip it over and let it do its thing. So I'll put this coral color. I have seen people's pours that have purples, and they have a pop of an orange or coral or a pinky orange, and to me it's just really super gorgeous. So that's kind of what I had in my mind. So we'll see how this plays out. I've never done this color combination before, so it's going to be interesting. Are you ready?
JB Kids Co. Asked if you had an Etsy area, and I said I didn't think you did.
No, I did have an Etsy account, but I wasn't selling anything, to be honest. I usually sell through Facebook or through my website. You can just straight out email me if you're ever interested in anything, but I never have really sold anything on Etsy, so I stopped using it. Okay. So I think I'm going to take my skewer and swish just a couple of times through it, but not much, because I kind of want those colors to kind of stay separated. I have no clue what's going to happen here. That's what I love about fluid art. Are you ready? And I'm not a good flipper either. And I may have done that backwards. I may have meant to go the other direction. But anyway, we'll see what happens here. And then also too, if you flip a cup, what happens is there's usually suction at the top. And if you want to release that suction, you take a push pin and you poke a hole or two in it. And that just see how it looks like it's kind of moving on its own? That paint, it's kind of neat. It's like its own little fountain underneath. Matter of fact, I'm going to torch it for a second. But with OGX, you don't even need to torch for cells, to be honest.
Oh, I have the extinguisher handy.
What happens when you have OGX, what happens is it just brings out little tiny cells. It doesn't bring out big cells. It brings out the little tiny specks, which don't really do anything for your painting. So I'm going to see if I can let this drift. Hopefully this won't turn to mud either. But you see all the big cells? And the cool part about OGX is being patient with it. Like if you just let it sit for a few minutes, those cells grow on their own. Using the torch will not help the cells grow with OGX. They grow on their own, all by themselves. So I'm going to be patient just for a minute. I'm going to look at the comments. Nisa said she loves Paul's bald head.
Yeah, you don't want to walk into that conversation, do you?
Oh, I don't know what's going on with that, the conversation. Because Greg has almost a bald head. He's got a little bit. You never thought to poke a cup. Yep, see, that releases the air. And then the paint will go swoosh. And see, then you have the pretty cup. But I'm trying to be patient here. You see these are growing before our eyes, right? You see all that? So with OGX, it does the magic for you. You don't even have to do it. That is what is so cool about it. And I can already tell I kind of wish I hadn't used some of the green, but anyway. Bald head and long nose is sexy.
Hey.
That was nice of you. Asmus Art. That was nice, or Asmus, as you were shopping and you had to rush home to watch. That is so sweet. That makes me feel so good to know that people are actually rushing home to watch me paint. So, you see how big everything has grown by itself. Here's a bubble. And I popped it with my skewer. This is a bamboo skewer. I have a package of them. You can get them at any grocery store or probably at the dollar store even. You can also blow without a heat gun or whatever to pop bubbles. That way it doesn't make all these little tiny specks come up. Can you rinse this off for me, please?
Oh, yep.
And then just leave it sitting.
Who gave me the handle?
Leave it sitting on the paper towel. Okay, so I'm going to pull out my beautiful, exquisite roasting pan that's had a lot of love. This pan has made it for over 6 months with hundreds of pours. And I can't get the paint to peel out anymore. I think I'm going to have to buy a new pan. But this thing has been good for 6 months, and I've been peeling paint out of it forever, but it's gotten to the point where it won't come out anymore. But this is where my drips are going. And now I'm going to stretch. And that's always the question, is which way to go first. I think I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to try to do it slowly. Like normally when I do my videos, I'll fast forward on this part. But I can't do it live, so you have to just be patient with me. So now I'm going to tilt it to this corner. Look at the giant cells. This does not look anything like I thought it would. Isn't that always the way it goes? Okay. I'm even going to scrape my hand there on the side. Now I'm going to let it drift down. See, this was the pale color on the end, and I knew that I wanted more color. That's why I went the other direction first. Wee-haw! I'm dripping all over the table and everywhere. I am so messy. Okay. I'm messing up my cell action here, and I dripped in my white paint. Oh my goodness. I'm totally out of control. I watched Christina Welch the other night. I watched her and her husband. She lives about an hour and a half away from me. And they are so neat. They have little puppy pads or, under their pores. And they don't drip all over the place, and their gloves stay clean, and their bottles don't have fingerprints. And I thought, how do you do that? I don't know. I got to get this out of my white paint. I still have it in my white paint. We'll stick a little over here. Okay. So I kind of stretched my cells in a wonky kind of way. I wanted them more round, and they start getting what I call wonky. Whopper jawed, that kind of stuff is what, how us country folks say it. So, but here's the deal. The reason I did this one, I wanted to try out her little method, and I don't know if this is going to work or not. We're going to try. I want the one that has more a rounded bottom. So here we go. Okay, that didn't do anything. So we're going to try it here in the purple. Okay, we're just going to keep going till we see something happen. And she might have a magical mixture that's just totally different from mine, that works for her, that doesn't work for me, I don't know. I just saw she doesn't speak English, and she's not talking during her video, so I don't know, if her mixture is different or whatever. I just saw her using the bottom of a bottle. So I'm going to twist it a little bit here even. And she didn't wipe her bottle off every time either. I thought that was interesting. So we're going to try it over here in the purple again. Twist a little bit. So we get some purple on our bottom. I'll put it over here in the yellow.
Rosemary says twist a bit.
I am twisting. So So it's not making flower shapes like hers. See, I told you some of us have our specialty that they're really good at, and this apparently is not going to be one of mine. I don't know what the magic is to it. I have no idea. I'm going to try this out here real quick. I'm going to put green on the bottom of my bottle. See, we're going to just play and see what happens. That's what I like to do, is play. So I'm going to go.
Has mist says wipe and then twist.
Okay, so that put green in there, but it doesn't make it look like a flower. So I twisted there, and that looks kind of funky. But it doesn't look like a flower either. So I think I'm going to stop while I'm ahead, because it's not working like hers. And hers was so pretty. Let me try this one that has a flatter edge. Nothing. One more time. See, you see it has these funky green ones. You don't see anything there. Well, shoot. Okay, so I saw another technique, and I'm going to try this as well. Somebody just took like a paper towel and just kind of swished it. So I'm just going to try that here and there. I don't like this green shape, so I'm just playing. Y'all can watch me just play, make crazy stuff. I don't like this area. So you can't do too much swishing, because then you're going to make mud, you know? So here, I tell you what, I'm going to get really bold. Since I'm not crazy about this in general, we're going to swipe over it. That's right, I'm going to swipe.
Gabriel asks who does that technique.
Gabriel, it's a girl that's in my Facebook group, and I think she speaks French. She doesn't speak English, but she posts the most beautiful pours.
Try that. Sherry says a wadded up plastic bag mix.
Okay, well, I'll try before I swipe. I used to do faux finishes on walls. So I used to do this kind of stuff. Trying to figure out where I won't make mud. Let me try it right here on this bit of purple. Swish. It's not really doing anything. It did make a couple little loopies. I'm just going to swipe. I'm going to go ahead and swipe just for the fun of it. And I'm not going to put a lot of white. We're just going to see what happens.
What color are you swiping with?
White.
Oh.
Okay. Let me scoot this a little bit. So I've got my paper towel. It's damp.
Gabriella says she's going to join and then translate to find out her secrets.
Here we go. I may regret this. Now I'm going to let it fall over the edge so that it goes over the edge of the canvas. See how I let it just drop? Okay, so now it's going to be all muted and it's not going to make me happy either. But we're going to let it sit for a minute. We'll try the torch. Woo-hoo! See, I'm afraid I'll burn my paint. I don't feel that way when I'm using a heat gun, but I feel that way when I use a torch because I see fire. That's why I feel like I'm going to burn my paint. Okay, I'm going to turn my pan here. So what happened is it pretty much muted all the colors. I'm not saying it's not pretty, but it's not exciting. So.
Nisa says gold would have made you happy.
Gold?
Gold.
I'm wondering. So I'm letting the cells kind of pop up, but I can tell I'm going to want to do something with this. So I think, here we go.
Imagination Figments. I don't know her name, but she says do the same distance as the heat gun, but go fast with your torch.
Right. I tried to go fast.
Or he. I didn't mean to say he, she.
Oh, drip, drip. Okay. See, I dripped in my house paint purple here. We're going to just experiment. These are like big petals too. I usually do smaller ones, but I'm doing big ones. But I still kind of want it to look like flowers, so we're just going to see what happens. See, now if I swiped with gold over it now though, it would just all become, I think, one color because it's already so muted. If I had some deeper colors in the background, the gold over it would have been really pretty. Like if the purple was really strong, I might should have swiped over it with purple. This may come out like really ugly, y'all. I'm just telling you. It probably will because I'm live. So, let me see if I blow what happens. I'm not feeling it. That would be a no. Okay.
Imagination Figment says everything is better with purple.
Yes, it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to add more purple. And we're going to swipe it with purple. Because I do not like this. I'm going to turn it around. And I do have push pins underneath the canvas, but I do have it up on my full pan. So I'm going to open up me and clean, semi-clean I need a different one. So here we go. If you don't like something, just keep playing till you get what you like, right?
He said, now put the bottom in it.
I'm going to turn this around. I do like this better than the first time, to be honest. Even though it doesn't have any paint down here because the white got swiped off. And the purple. I didn't put enough purple down here. It got swiped. So this is called problem solving. I'm going to pull out my bottles. I'm just going to do these little kind of petal shapes. The only problem is down here my canvas is almost dry to the touch. So we're just going to be creative, okay? I just can't do a regular swipe and stop with it. You know me. I am going to take my white bottle and fill in the little gaps down here because the canvas is like almost dry. And you need, when you swipe around shapes and all, you need that canvas to be wet beside your paint. If it's not wet, your paint will go nowhere. Okay, now let's do magenta. Whoops. Get off there. I'm going to do a little of my swiping and just kind of see what happens. And I want some of this coral because I like the combination of purple and coral, but I don't have it in a bottle, so I'm going to have to use my stick here. So the next one I wanted to paint, I've got metallics on black. That's what I wanted to do on my next one, is metallics and black. That's what I had envisioned in my head. And I'm going to put a little bit of this is like a hot pink. It's carousel pink is the color from Deco Art. Okay. So now I'm going to take my spatula, my palette knife, My paint is also, the white is a little thinner today, and that does make a difference when you're swiping and you want to do like artwork or embellish it while it's still wet. That does make a difference if your paint is thinner. So you have to barely skim that top of that paint. If you do too hard, it'll take it right down to the canvas. So I'm just taking this palette knife and I'm just barely skimming it. I like the colors. I'm going to come out with another little, kind of like a little in-between blossom. And I'm wiping off every time I swipe so that it doesn't dirty up my paint.
You've been complimented on your skimming.
Thank you. I have a shaky hand. I am definitely not a steady hand. But the key is to do it on the surface, to not push it down to the canvas level. So this one's going to be funky for sure. And not every painting that you do are you going to love, that kind of thing. But my whole theory is to play and enjoy playing. So this white paint here, I'm just going to drag it down with my palette knife just to cover the canvas, because the canvas is kind of dry and I've got some dry paint right there. But I'm just making sure this white comes down, because I also want to do some green on here for leaves. So, I'm going to use the deeper green, and I'm just going to do kind of like a little line. And then I'm going to put some of this limier green, and I can't control that, so I'm going to switch to my squeeze bottle. This is about the same color. It's a little lighter, but it's called Sour Apple. See, there's not much difference. It's Deco Art Sour Apple, but it's that light yellow, green, lime color. And you can also use a card, but if I used a card, these would be kind of large, so I'm going to still use my palette knife because I can control it a little bit better because it is smaller. So I'm going to wipe every time I swipe. And that's okay if a little purple mingles with it, because this is definitely... Then there comes some orange from underneath. This is funky, so it doesn't look real or anything like that. This leaf is going to come down. And this one's going to go over the petal a little bit. As Bob Ross would say, what would he say? It's your little happy place. Was that his saying? Make it whatever you want it to be. It's your little happy place. I can't remember his exact phrase, but I did used to watch him, and he is the one that I learned how to paint. I watched him paint and taught myself how to paint watching Bob Ross. So now I actually have some gold mixed up here. I'm going to do some little dots of gold This is like the color gold. It's not metallic. It's just a gold color. What color is it? It is yellow ochre. This is for another pour that I'm going to do, but I want this deeper gold. These will be like little things coming out from these make-believe funky flowers.
Nisa's been asking for gold.
Here's your gold, Nisa.
She says it does look like butterfly. Sherry Lewis says a goat's horn, which I missed that part of the conversation.
You missed what part?
Goat's horn.
Goat's horn?
Yeah, butterflies. Judy says, love watching you troubleshoot.
I am definitely troubleshooting tonight.
It's a happy accident.
Okay, now I'm going to use in a squirt bottle because I can control it better, but that would be the bright yellow. I'm going to put a little dot of the bright yellow over the gold. Just everywhere that I had a gold dot, I'm doing the bright yellow. The whole point of doing this is just to have fun and play. For me, it's therapeutic, and I know for a lot of people that do this pouring, it's therapeutic for them too. So the whole point is just to make yourself happy and enjoy it. And you see how the paint is really spreading out. So my paint underneath that I've swiped with and my white, like I said, it was kind of more on the watery side. I had maybe more water than typically. So the paint is really spreading out as I use it. So it's doing all this funky stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to try to go fast here. I'm just putting little points. See, I got the L green thing right here in the middle I don't like. So I'm going to take white from my fingertip, dab it. If you don't like something, go over it with your fingertip or take a skewer and dab some paint in it or whatever and just change whatever you don't like. This is one of those weird paintings. What can I say? Okay, I need a little filler right here. Very quickly. I think this one I can chalk up to not a great experience, but y'all can watch me and learn, right? Now I'm just using kind of the same same colors.
A few minutes ago, Alana said there's no accident in art, just more opportunities to be creative.
Hey, Elena. Yes, it is an opportunity to be creative. I agree. I'm putting this magenta in. So I got the hot pink and the coral. And I'm just going to do blip. Just felt like it needed something right here. See how when you go down to the canvas, it brings that white back up. So if you go heavy-handed, that's what happens.
And Rhonda says it is very therapeutic for her. She lost her husband last year. This lets her cope.
That is true. It is very therapeutic. So I'm going to go back and add just a hint of green here. Limey green. Lime is a happy color. It makes me think of life and growth. Of nature, things like that. So just kind of filled in the little spots here and there. This is so bizarre. It's bizarre. What can I say? I'm gonna stick a little yellow here. I made a huge mess on my table. I am so messy. See, sometimes you just go fast and you just play and it's like, to heck with it. It is what it is. And I even dribbled some, so you can kind of take your palette knife or you can take a skewer and you can kind of soften your lines where you dribbled over. Okay, I'm going to call this one done because I don't care for it. Let go. So here it is. It is funky and bizarre and just not, I'm not feeling this one, y'all. I'm sorry. But I can tell you that I honestly love putting the paint down and playing with it anyway. And see those cells that are growing all by themselves? That's the OGX still working through all of those layers of paint. The OGX is still popping up with those big cells. So if you use OGX, you will get cells.
Shannon, Sherry, and Marilyn are watching.
Wow. So,
I have to do my marketing.
He's my commercial. Let me grab some new clean gloves. You see the mess on my table? I am so messy. So the next thing I wanted to do...
You have a bunch of people that love that painting, so...
Are you kidding? Y'all love that thing? I'm sorry. Are y'all crazy?
Yeah, it looks awesome with lots of hearts.
Maybe
it looks great.
Maybe I'll have to give that painting away because I don't care for it at all.
You may not love it, but you're a great teacher.
Maybe I'll put in a drawing for all the viewers that commented. Somebody might can win the painting. I'm sure Greg already has some tricks up his sleeve. Okay, so the next one on the agenda is black and gold.
I was going to say, Nisa will be mad if you don't have gold.
The color gold, black and gold, and red ochre. Gold, red ochre. That's the yellow ochre. Yellow ochre and red ochre. Martha Stewart's Living. This is Copper Penny. And then I have Artist Loft, Metallic Gold. Same as the white. It's about $10, but if you get it online, it's $6 for a quart. So those and black. So before I get started, does anybody have a request for what style? I was thinking it would be fun to do a Sinktrainer pour on this one. So what do y'all think? Or do you want me to do a tree ring? So I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about it. And while you're thinking, I'm going to put black on a canvas. Trying to get some of my mess off the table.
Shannon says that her mom says watching you paint and listening to her talk is better than meditation. Very relaxing.
Where's that tool that you rinsed off for me?
Just right there.
So I'm going to base coat.
Oh, wait. Okay. Tree ring, pour, sink strainer, strainer, tree ring. Sink strainer, doesn't matter. Tree ring.
Or maybe I need to do a sink strainer and do a tree ring around it. Hoo-hoo!
You're never giving up on it. Came through with the painting speaking exactly that.
I don't like that painting. I'm
I love
sorry.
your swipes in black. Tree ring, triple bottom pour.
I don't know how to do a triple bottom bottle pour.
Swipe.
No, I can't do a swipe because I just did a swipe. I need to do a dirty pour or the tree ring. Let's see, if I do a tree ring, I could still do a sink strainer, maybe. I'm thinking what I can do. So this black I haven't used in a while. It's been sitting, but it's 50-50, 1-to-1 with Floetrol like usual. And then some water added to it. And some people have a lot of problems with bubbles. I don't really have bubbles. If you do, my little trick that I like to do is just settle it on the table a little bit. You could even blow, and that'll get out some of your bubbles. You know, you can torch it. Whee! Fast, 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 fast. I don't like to torch. Sorry. Okay, so what do I want to do? I'm looking at the comments here. So the sink strainer that I do have, I've used it a million times, and there's an Amazon link, but I think I got it at the dollar store. So it has these little grooves and little dots at the bottom. Can you see that? And it's very used. I used it before the sink strainer. I even knew it even existed as a pour. I used it in my sink. So it's been through the ringer, literally through the ringer. So if I do a sink strainer pour, I'm trying to figure out how I could do, I could do a tree ring and then do a sink strainer on top of it. Let's try that. Okay, let me find a cup. I need me a cup.
Jeannie wants to know if you've ever done a funnel pour.
Funnel? No.
Funnel pour.
No, I don't think so.
Maureen asked, what are your paint mixture ratios and how is your paint mixed?
The paint is 1-to-1 with Floetrol.
Jen,
Floetrol is latex-based, water-based, 1-to-1 with any brand of paint that I use. I always use 1-to-1 ratio. But now, depending on the thickness of the paint, is how much water I add. But it's all about the consistency. So, when you mix your paint, it should pour off your stick like warm honey. Or like thick cream. Can you see that? So if it drips, it's too watery, and if it stays on your stick, it's too thick. So, we're going to try the tree ring first, and then maybe do, or I could do multiple tree rings. My mind is going to town here, y'all.
Jen Cars says her girls Anastasia and Isabel are watching.
Hey!
Right below it, Anastasia says me.
Hey! I haven't forgotten about y'all. I really haven't. It's just been crazy busy. Okay, So let me move this so you can see me pouring in here. So I've got my cups down here at the bottom. So I'm going to just layer up some black. Now tree rings are not my specialty, so I hope I don't screw this up, y'all. Now I don't know if that was supposed to be layered, so I'm going to try to layer it now. When you layer it, you kind of go down the side of your cup, and that way the paint lays on top of the color instead of sinking into it. Like the first one, it sunk in down here. So do some red ochre. We'll do them all the same. And I'm going to do metallic gold over this. So you see how it's layering? This is like way too much paint. I can tell y'all already. I'm going to have too much paint. Okay, I want to put another little bit of black on top of the gold, just a little bit. Just to kind of separate it. And now the copper. And every brand, the copper is a different color, kind of like bronze is a different color in the different brands. I just happen to have an 8-ounce container of this Martha Stewart that I've had for quite a while. So I thought, well, I'll use that. Let me top it off with a little bit of gold again. Just a little bit, because I'm trying to save a little bit of my gold. I better not use my gold. I gotta make sure I have enough paint to do my sink strainer. Okay, are y'all ready? I'm gonna do 3 rings. And the paint is really, really thick. Metallics usually are pretty thick. Ooh, that's pretty coming out right there. This is going to be a big mud pie on my table, y'all. I like where the black comes out at the end. That's nice. And it's already going over the sides. And I just put fresh butcher paper down too. Okay, here goes cup number 2. I think I could have gone with less paint in my layers and done more layers, but who knows? So I'm not doing a tight little tree ring, I'm just doing a very loose tree ring.
Ooh, I like that.
Cup number 3. Here we go. This one came out totally different than the other 2. Ooh, I like it at the end. Okay, now, I was going to do a sink strainer pour on this, but there's no way I can do a sink strainer pour over this because I like this too much.
I know, it looks good.
I've never done more than 1 tree ring pour on a canvas before. So, should I do another one? Should I do one more? I'm going to do a smaller one in the corner here. I just have to.
That looks awesome.
I kind of like it.
Another one. Nisa says if you don't like it, she'll buy it. She loves it already.
I do like it. Okay. So I'm going to switch it up and do copper on this one and finish off. I put a little black. I got so much paint all over everything I can't even hold it. It's so slippery. Whoops. That doesn't help to drop a drop of black into your tree ring pour. Okay, now I need gold. All right, here we go.
Jen says in the future maybe you could do a bunch on the canvas to make it look like a honeycomb design.
Woo-hoo! I like this one better already. Now.
Oh, I like how the three went straight. Like, the lines went straight. That's cool.
And you know what? I didn't put any silicone in. I forgot about that. But I don't think I need it because I already see cells. I'm trying to tilt it just a little bit. This canvas is so heavy with paint. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't tilt it. I'm just playing. I'm seeing if anything happens with this leftover paint here.
Robin says don't do the tilt. Denise says we are beekeepers and I've been trying to figure out how to do a honeycomb with a pour, and I think you might give me some ideas. Thank you.
Good. Let's see if I can just switch this out a little bit on the edges. I don't know. I don't care for that. There's going to be black put back over it. Use my little icing spreader. Okay. So typically, I don't ever have problems with cracking. I did do one the other day, and it didn't really crack. There was just a couple of little crevices because the paint was thicker, and then it had a thinner spot where probably when it dried, it stretched. So that's the only time it ever really happens. Typically, I don't have problems with cracking. But also, it's just paint and Floetrol, and this did not have any silicone in it. So I forgot to add it, but you know, you don't really need silicone when you're doing tree rings. Unless you want the cells. So I actually like this. I mean, it would be kind of cool to see it like stretched out, but I kind of like the shapes of it going on. But if it's stretched, then you would get some of those different variations of color and, you know, probably a little bit more depth going on. But I think I'm going to just leave it. And what will happen is with the weight of the paint, like me just lifting it right now, with the weight of the paint, it's going to pour off. You know, it's going to self-level and pour off whether I want it to or not. I can't do anything to control that part. But that's pretty cool looking. I know, it's dripping. So when it dries, at the end of, well, I can't, at the end of this video, I can't put the dried picture, but I will go to Facebook and post the picture, and always the pictures are posted on my website as well, which is sandralett.com. So I'm getting ready to transfer this over to my counter. Hold on one second. This is going to drip. Whee! Y'all bear with me a second here. I'm trying to get me some new damp paper towels. I've got a 12 by 12 inch canvas here, and I'm trying to zoom in just a little bit so y'all can see a little bit better. So this is a 12 inch canvas, and since I didn't get to do my sink strainer, which I really had my heart set on, I'm going to do a sink strainer on this. These are fun, but what I'm going to do on this is I'm going to keep the colors separated. I'm going to do it as a puddle pour so that the colors stay separated. I like it better that way. I am going to put a little bit of white paint, and I'm just going to spread it around with my fingers. I just want my canvas to be wet with something, because it's going to eventually all be covered. Okay. I'm going to pull out all my rainbow of colors, because you know me, I love my colors. These were colors from the other day.
Anastasia wants to know how many are you going to do with a whole bunch of question marks?
How many paintings?
Yes.
I've got an 8 by 10 that's waiting for me too. We might could still do something with some of the metallics. I don't know. We'll just see. So I'm going to start this sink strainer pour. Sometimes it's hard to tell if your thing's in the middle, but I think it is. I'm going to start it with just a hint of black. Some white. Just to get it going. Okay, so I've got purple in a cup that I'm going to use up here. Then I'm going to do red. This is crimson red. I know that's what I mixed, was a crimson red. I've got just regular orange. These were like artist loft colors. And, you know, a few of them have OGX in them and some don't. So next I'm going to do blue. Green. I'm going to do the limey green. Some bright yellow. So, and as you let it settle in the sink strainer, it's going to keep coming out. And hopefully it's pretty level and all that, because if you have it level, then it should work pretty well. I'm going to put a little black again. Just not as much as before. I don't want the black to ruin anything. I'm going to do a little bit of white, just a dribble. And then I'm going to go back to my rainbow colors again. That was left in the purple cup, and then I've got more in my cup from tonight. And I love red against purple, so I'm going to use this red and finish it up. I just absolutely love red and purple and orange together. For some reason, it just makes me really, really happy. So finish up the orange. I had these cups sitting here the whole weekend waiting on me to get back from the wedding we went to in Virginia. It was beautiful in Virginia, the beautiful mountains. I'm putting a little coral on this one. It was just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so I got off whack. I'm going to put my blue against the orange. I'm trying to do a little contrast here so that when it comes out, you'll have those contrasting colors. I'll do the green. The lime green. Finish up the yellow in this cup. See, it's going just a little bit that way. So my table is probably just a little bit unlevel, or either my push pin could be adjusted. See, this is what happened to me when I did this the other day. I was actually trying to spin it, and it wasn't perfectly in the center, so it kind of went off to the side a little bit, but I love the way it turned out. I called that one Radiate, but I love the powerful color of this rainbow effect. It's funny, the oranges kind of get covered up. Maybe I'll go over the yellow here with some coral. And just a hint of the red ochre. And then a little bit of the yellow, the gold color that was called yellow ochre. So I'm going to let it settle. But it's not perfectly centered, and that's okay. And thank you, Isabella and Annabella, for subscribing.
They would like to know, they put it in your chat, their channel. Do you mind if I approve that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to finish this with some bright yellow. because to me, you know, you kind of need a bright color in the center. Okay, so drum roll, and maybe I shouldn't have put the black in. It's starting to kind of intermingle in there. Lift it out. See, I got way too much paint on this canvas. The black came out in the center, isn't that funny? So I'm going to see if I can tilt this a little bit just to get it more to the edges. And then, you know, I might just take it off one side. You never know. Because sometimes I like things off center. It almost has a Christmassy effect. The Chapel Hill Fair, I was reading the comments and not paying attention to my canvas here. The Chapel Hill Fair went pretty well. It was like super hot that day, and fairs are a lot of work. Greg and I were worn out when it was over with. Okay, so my corners don't have much paint on them, but I don't think I'm gonna tilt it anymore. Or should I tilt it and take it off to one corner? That's a poll. We'll see what everybody says. I think I'm gonna add some purple. So the question is to everybody, should I tilt it to one side or leave it centered? Now just add one color to all the sides. Whoops. You wouldn't tilt anymore, but add red to the bottom right and bottom left. The only problem is I don't have any red left. I'm out of red. Well, I have it in my squeeze bottle, but it has silicone in it. So what's going to happen, even if I don't tilt it, it's going to continue because of the paint in the middle. It's going to continue to spread because of the weight of the paint. It's going to spread and do what it wants to do. So I was going to show you, this one is a round canvas that I got at Hobby Lobby. And I kind of did the same thing, and I added too much paint. There's no cracking. As you can see, I have not put varnish on it, but it has a sheen to it. There was no cracking, but because of the weight of the paint kept moving and shifting, and it, like my purple tilted off and my hot pink. So this was kind of like one I didn't care for either, but it kept going all by itself. So see how it's moving? Just as I'm talking, it's moving on the table. It's shifting by itself. So by the time this dries, the green might have, expanded and we may not see any of the red around the edges. Who knows? I'm not crazy about the middle, but if I keep adding paint, it's going to make more of the paint go off here.
Somebody asked if they could see the back of that one. Denise.
There's the back. It's just stapled on the back. That's the way it comes from Hobby Lobby. And I put, push pins in like I typically do. It's very tight, like a drum. So now I could go in the middle and scoop paint out. So that kind of took a little of that black out of the middle. See, another thing I can do is I could go in, like here, because there's already some points, I could go in and make little points. But you have to wipe off every time you use your skewer so it doesn't contaminate the red with the color you're using. Don't keep shifting that way. I'm going to have some beautiful drips on the table. So see, you can make it look like even like flower petals. I got to shift it this way and then have it come back maybe. My Sinktrainer pours are never perfect, that's for sure. But they're colorful and I enjoy doing it, so that's what counts, right? So I'm just kind of going through the red and the purple and bringing it into the green to give it almost like pointed petals. Okay. I'm not going to lift it too long because I'm afraid I'll tilt it one way or the other, but you can kind of see up close what it looks like. Okay, I have one more canvas, an 8 by 10. So, dun, 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 dun. We can, let's just try something, a funky swipe. Let's try a little bit of black. And ooh, the red ochre. Okay, I'm gonna put a drop in my metallic gold and a drop in my purple. So I'm gonna put the metallic gold This is just fast and fun. Put a drop in the copper. Couple little stirs. I'm going to put some purple in. This is going to be weird. Tonight's weird night. How about that? Tonight is Halloween, freaky weird coming out, okay? I got some good Frankenstein colors on the table here though. These greens are pretty. Okay, so I've got this gold. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to it. So it's not metallic, it's just the color gold. And I don't think there's any silicone in it. I don't think. I can't remember, but I don't think I put it in there. I'm going to swipe with this color. I have no idea what this is going to look like. Y'all heard that a couple of times tonight, haven't you? So I haven't read all the comments because I've been freaking out over the big mess on my table, but I appreciate everybody watching tonight, and I appreciate the donations. They are much appreciated. So here we go. Oh, that gold is strong. There's an area there, the paint, there we go. Add some purple on the side. It got thin on the side here. And I did not base coat this canvas. I just put the color straight on the canvas. So I'm going to go back with a little gold on my finger. You don't have to be perfect with this. This is just for fun. So I'm going to heat it here and see what happens. But you see the cells are coming up. They're kind of weird. The colors are really weird. Like I said with OGX, you don't really pull up the cells. They kind of come up on their own with OGX. So y'all, I don't like this one either.
Want it?
Tonight is not my night for some reason. I like my tree ring pour, and I like my Sinktrainer.
So make it better.
Should I go over it with purple?
You ask and then you grab paint.
I'm still thinking purple.
Ask if you should go with purple and then you pour green out.
I'm going to put green, but I'm going to go with purple.
Yeah, the gold is too strong.
Yes, the gold is ugly.
And Beth Benton asked if we do this often, and I said about every other week or so, and we are in the process of moving from our kitchen to a gallery, and hopefully we'll be doing it more often.
Yes, we are still working out of the kitchen, and when I get to the studio and get that all set up, hopefully it'll be a lot better set up. I like the purple better. My edges aren't quite covered, so I'm just putting some purple on the edges. The other thing too is like stuff like this. If you just let it kind of do its thing overnight, and like these cells are kind of growing. See, I like the contrast of the green and yellow against the purple. I'm just going to take a piece of paper towel that's not like crazy dripping with paint. I'm going to swipe it right here just slightly, because there's a ridge where I added some purple. So I'm just very lightly swiping. This is kind of different. You can also tilt a little bit and stretch your cells.
Denise W. asked, would you consider being a mentor?
I have thought about being a y'all. That is on my mind. There's so much I want to do. I want to do online classes. I want to teach people how to do real, don't take me wrong when I say real art. I want to teach people how to paint flowers and things like that, in addition to acrylic pouring, because I know there's a lot of people out there that really do want to learn how to paint things, and I taught myself, and so I feel like anybody can kind of teach themselves. So I have thought about mentoring. I've been a part of a mentoring group this past year, and I've learned so much, and my mentor has really helped me expand my thought process and my walk with God and everything else. It's just been a fabulous experience. So I'm trying to let you look at it up close. So I like this one better. And I could see this drying and me doing some artwork on it, like a pretty bird that really pops, or some really bright yellow flowers with it. This is the background. So I can see this becoming a piece of artwork with art on top of it.
Anastasia says, super cool. Now I want it.
Hey, somebody may want this painting. Who knows?
Jan says it's beautiful. Barbara says definitely take online class.
See, I like the black, the yellow, and the green with the purple. I don't like the copper so much, but I love the contrast of the purple against the green and the little bit of black popping through. So maybe that will give y'all ideas on how to do your swipes and the color choices that you pick.
Jan says another peacock. Patsy says butterflies.
Yeah, it could be a pair of butterflies on it. That would be pretty.
Peacock.
It could be a peacock feather, just like one feather with this as the background. There's so many possibilities with art. That's the beauty of art. And I do want to mentor people, and I do want to teach people how to paint. And if you live anywhere in the North Carolina area, I would love for you to come see me at my new shop when I get it all set up, which will be next month by the end of November. I will be hopefully up and running full force. I'll be doing my YouTube videos there. I'll offer classes. I'll have my gallery with all my 250 paintings. We were taking paintings there before we went out of town this weekend. I have so many paintings I could cover the walls and you wouldn't see any paint on the walls. I could literally plaster the walls with my paintings. So I have quite a lot of paintings. But it's paintings that I've done over the last maybe 2 years. I'm going to shift this a little bit. Try to stretch out this a little bit. But I like this, it's funky. It would have been cool to do yellow and green and red and orange and black that would have been a cool combination of colors. Instead of using the copper, which I was just trying to use up my copper, but it would have been really cool with yellow and green and red and a little bit of black. It would have looked kind of Halloween-y, so, or orange. I didn't have any orange left, so that should give y'all some neat ideas to try out. If you want to do a Halloween pour, that would be a cool combination. Even this is pretty right here at the bottom, where the gold color is kind of stretching. So, you know, I could even keep tilting and stretch things out and make them all different kinds of shapes. But I'm going to try to leave it pretty much the way it is. I like it the way it is, or I can see some art on it. So, I have a mess on my table. And it's almost 9 o'clock, and I know that probably there are a lot of people out there that have to go to work or school tomorrow. And I just want to thank everybody for coming in tonight and watching me live. And for those that come in and watch this later on when it's not live, but when it's in my library. And I just want to show that you can make mistakes and pick the wrong color combinations and kind of screw up. But the whole point is to just have a great time and to enjoy the process of doing it. And you learn from your mistakes. I've got some beautiful, beautiful color going on the table. If I let this dry, it will make some gorgeous skins for jewelry. It will be so pretty. And then I've got this whole puddle over here, this kind of off camera. It's the blacks and the metallics, and it's all pretty over there in that puddle. So I'm going to have to let it dry in order to use these for skins. I've got a big mess. And I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all are the best. I really, really appreciate it. Congratulations to the 6 people in my Facebook group for the peacock thing. And, you know, I've got the one lady that won the pillow cover, and the other 5 will get the digital download of the peacock. Anything about it? So I think that's pretty much it. So I hope y'all have a wonderful night. This has been so much fun for me. Thank you for watching me, and I hope you learned something. And I would love to have special requests. You can always email me at sandralett.com. There's a place to contact me there. You can send me an email and make a special request if you want to see me do a butterfly or a particular style of painting or a particular color combination. One thing I haven't done is a large scale puddle pour, and maybe I need to do one of those and show you how to do a puddle pour on a large scale. That's something I don't do very often because I'm usually doing pours that have cells and everything like that, but puddle pours can be really beautiful. So feel free to contact me if you want to make a request for the next live video. And I hope everybody has a fabulous week. Thank you for watching. Y'all have a great night.